The hostage crisis in Dhaka is now over. It took about 12.5 hours for security forces to neutralize the terrorists. 5 terrorists killed, 1 captured alive. 6 terrorists killed, 1 captured alive. But at this point of time, there's a red alert across Dhaka. Now, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, said 13 hostages had been rescued. What sources in Bangladesh government are telling India today is that those who've been rescued include Indian and Japanese tourists in Bangladesh. This terror strike started around 7:30 local time yesterday when terrorists stormed the Holy Artisan Bakery. They fired at customers, they lobbed grenades, they took hostages, and this hostage situation lasted through the night. You're looking at pictures of the security situation currently across Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina has insisted she will not permit Bangladeshi soil to be used for terrorism. 26 injured were rushed to hospital. Several of them are policemen. 2 brave police officers of the anti-terror squad in Bangladesh made the supreme sacrifice of their lives. It's Dhaka today, it's target India tomorrow. Sources have told India today that the Islamic State is planning to target India next. The Islamic State has warned that the next big attack will be on India. The Islamic State has said that they will use their bases both east and west of India to target India. Dabik, that's the Islamic State magazine. It's carried an interview of Sheikh Abu Ibrahim Al-Hanif. He's the Amir or Khalifa of Bengal, and he's warned of raids and strikes in India to be launched both from west of India, that's from Pakistan, and east of India, that's from Bangladesh. India Today's Jugal Purohit now joins me live with more on the story. Jugal, you've been tracking the Islamic State very closely. How potent is the threat?
Well, Gaurav, I can tell you how potent this is by the measure of the fact that this online magazine, Dabik, that you mentioned, is being circulated widely across the offices of top senior intelligence as well as security officials in India. That's how seriously this is being taken. Insofar as the issue is concerned, Gaurav, this is not something which the Islamic State can do today. In that interview, he repeatedly mentions how weak they are, how small they are, and how much resources they need to grow in time. But this is an intention that they've made very, very clear. They're unambiguous about it, that they have some holding in the western Khorasan area, as they call it, which is roughly speaking the AFPAC area as we know it, and now they're trying to build a base in Bangladesh. They've also mentioned very repeatedly that they consider the Hindus, Christians, members of the LGBT community, as well as progressive thinkers and nationalists as their enemies, and on account of the fact that India is the big dominant power, and because Sheikh Hasina has been seen as cooperating with the Indian authorities on anti-terror operations as well as on anti-terror actions, the Islamic State has made her the biggest enemy for now. They also say that when they are successful in Bangladesh, they will start using that territory to launch raids into India and also in Burma, where they see the Buddhist majority, in that sense, subjugating the Rohingya Muslims.
Okay.
So that's their grand plan. That's what they wish to do. Perhaps today they do not have the resources, but what they've told us, and this is important, is that they are willing to do that, and this should be enough of an alarm for the Indian setup.
The arrests that have taken place, and a series of arrests, whether in Hyderabad or before that in Bangalore or in Maharashtra, has that nipped this crisis in the bud? Because the bigger crisis perhaps are these self-doctrinated, misguided, educated youth, or do they also have links with the Islamic State? What's the bigger threat and how is it being neutralized?
Well, Gaurav, as you see, there are obviously, as you said, several inspired actors in this. They need not have any physical or even, in fact, an online affiliation to the actual Islamic State. But the fact that the interview has been carried in Dabik, which is actually a magazine based on a very small town where an epic battle took place way back in time, and that's where the Islamic State believes it will confront the Western armies. That's the place that this magazine is named after, and the very fact that this interview of Al-Hanif has been carried in that that magazine tells you that he has actually much more than just an online or a mere affiliation. In fact, he is a part of the ISIS culture and body. So this threat obviously becomes very serious. The other issue, and why is it India's concern, is because of the porous borders that we share with Bangladesh, the open border that we share with Myanmar, and that's where action needs to be taken. And as I said, Gaurav, that this online document is now doing the rounds of senior most officers.
Keep tracking that story, Jugal. I will come back to you for more. There's breaking news that's coming in.